If you feel stuck, it's not your fault. Most people try to build wealth by chasing these hacks and tips and tactics, but they miss the real game, the small daily habits that stack up to these massive results. And I used to be that guy. I was hustling harder but not smarter. But once I focused on simple habits that actually compounded, my entire life changed. So these are the habits that help me build wealth, master discipline, and make money pretty much on autopilot. Most people don't lose money because they spend too much. They lose money because they have no idea where it's going. And I think they're just afraid to measure it because they're afraid of what they'll actually see. At least that's what I used to be like. So I did something very simple that you guys can do too. Every month, I went through every single dollar spent, every coffee bought, every meal bought, all the subscriptions, the fees, the convenience spending, the little things that added up to big waste. And it only took me a couple of hours. I wasn't intentionally being irresponsible. I was just unaware of where I was spending it. And yeah, more income helps, but income doesn't fix the root cause of that lack of awareness. And if you don't know where the money is actually going, then you can't direct it. And these money leaks, they kind of happen in the dark. And the second you shine the light on them, then you can start to change them. Not because of your willpower, but because you can now actually see it. It's like tracking calories. If you don't track them, then you won't lose weight. So here's what I want you to do. Every single month, just spend an hour going through your P&L, line by line. Ask yourself, do we really need to be spending money on this? And look, I promise you, if you actually do this, you'll find at least a few hundred to a few $1,000s a month that you can actually save. And then you can redirect it into smart things like savings, investments, and businesses, or even just peace of mind. Now, you're also probably doing this every single morning. No one actually talks about this, but the first 10 minutes of your day might be the reason your business is stuck. And I used to literally roll over and grab my phone first thing in the morning, group chats, whatever it might be. I did that before I even stood up out of my bed, and my brain was just consistently overloaded. This is why 4 hours would pass by and I feel like I actually achieved nothing. So everything changed the day I made this one simple rule. No phones, no messages, no noise for at least the first 3 hours of the day. And then I called it maker time. The time that was sacred to me to actually push the hard things forward in my business. It was just me, my laptop, and a clear outcome to build or create. Success comes from the depth, from the clarity and extended focus, and you'll just artificially spike your dopamine in the wrong direction. And as Cal Newport puts it, deep work is the ability to focus without distraction for a long time, and that's a superpower. So here's the key insight. Dopamine is not just for pleasure, it's for drive and ambition and motivation. And if you waste it first thing in the morning on pointless junk inputs, you'll have nothing left to crave for your craft. First thing is to set your phone on airplane mode before you go to bed and put it outside of your room. Sleep clean, wake up clear, and buy an alarm clock for $5 on Amazon if you have to. Second thing is in the morning, do 45 minutes of uninterrupted focus. No phone again, no music, just one clear task, which you set the night before. Writing, strategy, journaling, building, whatever's going to be a high leverage task. Third is use a timer. When it goes off, celebrate that win and start at 45 minutes. Then the next week, you can build to 90 minutes and then eventually 180 minutes. And now I'm up to 300-400 minutes. This is how you compound results. This is how you shift from maintenance mode to actually momentum. It's how you go from being busy all day to actually moving the needle forward in your business. And look, everyone says they want more focus, more clarity, more success, but most people are giving their best brain power to other people's agendas. Your mornings are your edge. Guard them like your life depends on it because your dream life actually does. So what's the first thing you're going to do in your new maker time? And it doesn't require you to wake up at 4 a.m., buying crypto or launching a new business. It takes 10 minutes. So let me tell you what changed when I started actually doing this consistently. Every morning, right after journaling, I sit down with a book, not Instagram, not email, just 10 pages of something powerful. Psychology, business, philosophy, spiritual books, whatever it might be. And here's what happened. I started getting new ideas in the business. I started getting new ideas about how to develop myself. And they were big ones. They were like multi-million-dollar frameworks, campaign angles, hiring systems, content hooks. Some of my best marketing wins came from directly those early morning reads, not from a mentor, but from a single sentence, an idea that I read in a book at the right time, the right place, the right level. And this is what most people actually miss. You're not reading to finish a book. You're reading to reshape your thinking. You're reading to recollect new beliefs that can help you in this world. You're collecting models, lenses, and all these different types of ideas can deploy in your real life and your business. Because here's the truth, most success is just applied wisdom, not hustle, it's not force. Most people say, I don't have time, I'm not a reader, I used to be one of them. And the truth is you don't need time, you just need dead time for your mind to creatively think. So here's the move. Keep a book visible. Keep the Kindle app on your phone on the first page, whether it's a desk, kitchen bench, gym bag, it doesn't really matter. And watch what happens. Over 30, 60, 90 days, you actually get sharper. Once you get sharper, your mind will get clearer, and then it'll reinforce those ideas. You'll make better decisions, and you'll want to actually read more. There's one shift that will actually instantly make you more productive, more focused, and more powerful in business. You need to finish one task before starting another. That's pretty simple, right? But let me show you how this actually changed everything for me. So I used to be the guy with 37 tabs open, and guess what? At the end of the day, I just felt like drained and like nothing got through. And then I made one hard rule: one tab, one task, no switching. Because the saying, a landed punch takes less energy than a punch and a swing that's missed. And it's the same with work. Now, I felt weird at first, but it was like I was moving slower. But then after days, I started to notice something wild. Momentum came back. My output actually doubled, and my brain felt calm. And there's an actual reason for this, because every time you switch tasks, you trigger a dopamine spike, and your brain thinks, oh, that's something new, and it rewards you for it. This is a lifestyle. This is not a strategy or a skill. Before you open a new task, the current one must be done or delegated. Try this for one day and see how you feel. You'll get more done in 3 hours of focus work than most people do in 10, I promise you. And you'll stop chasing dopamine and start chasing completion. Then you start to rebuild that muscle that actually creates focused, consistent action. Not fake freedom, not the Instagram version. I'm talking about the kind of freedom where you say no, walk away from bad deals, build a future on your own terms. Now, what's the habit? To live below your means. Or in short, the formula looks like wealth equals income minus expenses. And it's that simple. But most people don't live in it. And let me show you what I did long before I ever felt rich. Because back when I was starting out, I made a non-negotiable rule. I would live off 20% of my income, and I would invest the other 80%. So no matter what I was making, it was 5K a month or 50K a month, my lifestyle really stayed the same. I didn't do any flashy upgrades, no new car just because the revenue went up, no flexing for people who didn't pay my bills. And here's what most people actually get wrong. They think more income will give them more freedom. But the income doesn't generate the freedom, the margin does. And it's not how much you actually make, it's how much you keep and what you do with it. When you have margin, you make clearer decisions. You're not desperate, you're not reactive. You can take risks, you can walk away, you can invest in the actual future. But when you're living at your limit, even if you're making 200K a year, you're still in a cage. So here's the challenge. Cut one recurring expense this week. The one thing that you barely notice, the subscription you forgot, the overpriced service you don't use, and redirect that money into something that actually buys you future freedom. An index fund or a business, or even coaching, anything that actually invests in yourself. So stop chasing these approvals and start stacking freedom. Build wealth quietly, powerfully, and intentionally. Now, I can guarantee you'll start stacking wins faster than ever before. No fluff, no overthinking, just by doing this. Having daily non-negotiables. Now, most people wake up and they hope they feel like doing something. They leave their energy, their habits, and their entire direction up to chance. And I kind of used to do the same thing until I hit a wall. And success felt a bit random. One great day, then I wasted two, all because I lacked one thing. That's why I created what I call the 10.0 self checklist. It's not complicated, it's not sexy, but it actually works and works for all the coaching clients that I work with. First one's movement. Even if it's just a walk or a quick workout. Then you have sunlight first thing in the morning as a regular dopamine and energy. You have a deep work block, one interrupted sprint towards your goals. Clean foods, you have no sugar crashes, no processed junk. And then gratitude, at least 3 things written down with intention. And I don't try to do them, I actually do them. There's no debate, no negotiations. That's why they're called non-negotiables. The habits are like your resume to the world. They're tied to your identity and the most powerful kind. When you follow through on your non-negotiables, especially on the hard days, you start building this like internal trust within yourself. You create stability even when life feels chaotic. Confidence is built from keeping the promises you make to yourself in private. So you need to stop needing motivation and stop relying on these energy spikes from perfect circumstances. You just execute because you know who you are now. Just write down 3 to 5 non-negotiables, things that your higher self, the 10.0 self, would never skip. Keep them realistic at the start because you don't want to fall back into a negative cycle. And review them every morning before you touch your phone. Doing these types of physical activity every single day will give you an edge over everybody else. And it's not because aesthetics, it's not because of some grind set badge or honor, but because disciplining your body is literally the quickest way to free your mind. When I made my daily non-negotiable movement, it was gym sessions, boxing, long walks, whatever it was, it doesn't really matter. But everything else in my life kind of leveled up because my focus sharpened, my energy stabilized, my self-talk even improved. And for the first time in a long time, I actually felt in control. You don't realize how much noise lives in your head until you sweat it out of your system. Because here's the truth. When you push through the physical resistance, you train your brain to push through emotional resistance. Discipline in the body becomes discipline in the actual mind. And every rep where you actually feel like you want to quit, every mile where your legs are absolutely burning, every cold shower, every early wake up, that all adds to your inner voice getting trained. You're literally building resilience on a neurological level. And in business, relationships, and creativity, it all translates through because all the same attributes apply. Because when in your life you deal with pressure, you already know how to carry with it because you've done it before. And if you're stuck in your head right now, and if you're overthinking or you're procrastinating or doubting yourself, the quickest way to get to your mind is through the body. And it's not about getting shredded, it's about getting free. Freedom in the mind creates the wealth that we're after. You're just stuck in this reactively overwhelmed, burnt out state. There were moments in my business journey where I realized that I was saying yes to everything, every meeting, every call, every quick catch up. And I thought that by being busy actually meant being important, but really it just made a bottleneck. So I did something radical about it. I slashed my calendar, I blocked entire mornings, and I said no 10x more than I said yes. And guess what? My income literally 10x. Not because I actually worked more, but because I finally protected the time that moves the needle. So here's the deeper truth. Most people are underperforming, not because they're overcommitted. They're just booked up doing low leverage activity that are not moving the needle forward. They say yes to too many things, and they confuse movement for progress and leave no space for creativity, clarity, or deep work. Time is your most valuable asset. And if you don't treat it like gold, no amount of hustle will ever save you. And you'll make more money from saying no than you will saying yes. So here's the challenge. Say no to something today, a meeting, a favor, an obligation, whatever it might be. When you are really focused, you know you are by saying no to things you actually want to do and saying yes to the things that you know you should do. You need to be disciplined in terms of your time if you want to be successful. And that's a habit that has to be encapsulated throughout your whole life, your relationships, your work, wherever it is. You need to start prioritizing no instead of yes. You can buy speed and it's worth every penny. Now, one of the biggest lessons I've learned in business and completely changed the trajectory of my life was this one thing, which I never really talk about. I've spent over $500,000 on mentors, consultants, masterminds, private coaching, therapy, spiritual guides, you name it. Why? Because every single one of those investments helped me skip a whole chapter, helped me avoid a 7-figure mistake, and most importantly, gained access to people playing the game at high levels that I couldn't even see. I remember one time I paid $20K to a mastermind where I had one connection that turned into a brand deal that brought millions of dollars in. I paid $5K to sit down with someone for 1 hour. Why? Because they already had answers that would have taken me 6 to 12 months to try and figure out. And this is where people get it wrong. They think that self-education is enough. And don't get me wrong, books and YouTube podcasts are very powerful, but proximity has more power. It's just a different energy and it's a different level of education. And when you put skin in the game, when you actually invest and sit at the table, then you're more motivated to actually do it. You don't just get the information, you get access. And that's the key. You get their thinking, their frameworks, their networks, their belief systems, their failed mistakes in the past. And most importantly, you skip all the detours. To reach out to someone you admire, someone that's a couple steps ahead of you, and get them to coach you to the next level. Not when you feel like you're ready, do it today. Send them a message and ask 15 minutes of their time and offer to pay them for their time. Or better yet, join their course, group, and their coaching and get the knowledge that you need to get to the next level. And always remember, success leaves clues. And if you enjoyed this video, check out how I reset my brain to make $50 million in under 3 years.